here from mindofmodernman.com. Welcome back. We're back here in the truck for another edition of Truck Tales. How about that new theme song, that new opening? That was written and played by John Gus, one of our modern men. It's a really cool little tune, don't you think? He played all the instruments on it. And Jay, of course, our producer, put together all those clips, and we have ourselves a new opening. What do you guys think about it? Hit me in the comments below. Let me know what you think about that new song, the new video, the new opening. We like it. We're digging it. We're like a little band of brothers. We've been together since high school. We've known each other on and off, and we're all back together now making things work. I actually just wrote a story over on mindofmodernman.com about doing things with your friends, and wrote about creating that little video snippets with Jay and John. And so go over there, check it out, give it a good read, and see what we're all about. Speaking of band and brothers, we were talking about different ways that movie quotes, movie lines get into our conversation, and things that we use almost on a daily basis. Things that have just gone into the lexicon of our own conversation, and we use it all the time without ever really thinking of where it came from, maybe, but things that have just been stuck in our head. So we decided it was time for another Truck Tales Top 10. This time, it's our top 10 movie quotes that I use in everyday language. So we start right there with number 10. We're starting with winter. And winter is coming quick. Some days it's 60 degrees. Today is a beautiful day when we're recording this. But some days it's 30 degrees. And I find myself as I'm walking through the farm, doing my chores in the morning, getting up in the morning to take care of the kids, and your feet hit the cold ground. I'm just sitting there and I'm always quoting Austin Powers. Now, not Austin Powers himself. There were plenty of great quotes from him. Yeah, baby. But this is Dr. Evil, and not the $1 million from Dr. Evil. But anytime that I get cold, I instantly look around and I say to myself,
"It's frickin' freezing in here, Mr. Bigglesworth."
Right? I mean, do you do this to yourself? Do you find yourself quoting movies all the time? Now, I'm not thinking about Dr. Evil when I say it. I'm not thinking about his cat. I'm not thinking about the Austin movie franchise, which actually I just read that they're going to release Austin Powers 4, that Mike Myers is currently working on that. Not too sure if we're excited about it. Are you? Let me know. But I'm freaking freezing, Mr. Bigglesworth. I say it in that voice. You say it all the time, and it lets me know that it was cold. Now, let's talk about something else. Number 9. We're talking about Forrest Gump. Many quotes from Forrest Gump, but do you really find yourself every day saying things like, "Life is like a box of chocolates"? No. So what from Forrest Gump filled into my life all the time? Anytime that I see, especially my kids, but anytime somebody else is running, I will always say out loud, "I was running." And yes, you have to say it that way. You have to say it with the Southern feel. But it was when Forrest finally realized he could run. The first time that Jenny said, "Run, Forrest, run!" And he had the leg shackles and they broke off. Here, watch.
Run, Forrest, run!
Now, anytime that you see anybody running, say that. It makes a laugh every single time. And it's fun. And if it's not every single time, don't blame me, please. Don't blame me. I don't need that on my head. Number 8. Let's look at a little Pixar, little cartoon action. Toy Story, one of my favorite movies of all time. And just jam-packed with quotable moments through all the different Toy Stories that they have. But there was one in time, especially, I say it to myself when I'm seeing somebody do something and maybe not necessarily within vocal range of them, but anytime my friends are being silly or anytime my friends are doing something that really kind of confuses me, what I do is I say to them exactly as Buzz Lightyear does,
"You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell."
Isn't Pixar great? I love that he gives the little Spock, the little live long and prosper at the end of that. I mean, those little things that they fit in make those movies so special. Make it so that they really meet you on all these different levels. A fun little piece of trivia, actually. Did you know that the Santa Claus 2, which also stars Tim Allen, who's the voice of Buzz Lightyear, in the Santa Claus 2, he uses the same line? Yeah, there's a clip, I swear. Here. Good stuff. One of my other favorite movies is number 7, That Thing You Do. This movie is a movie that I'll stop and I will watch it every single time it's on. Tom Hanks, he's already been on this list before. He's been in it a couple times. Not necessarily his lines, but movies he's been in. And the way that the movie works is it gets me laughing every single time. Steve Zahn is in it. He plays the character of Lenny, and he has these one-liners that just stick in your head. Things that make you think, all different things that he can say. One of my favorites is when he's in the van. He's like, a very nice man in a very nice van wants to put our song on the radio. I'm signing, you're signing, we're all signing. I don't have a place to use that every day in my life. Maybe as a salesperson, I should have someone say that to people when I want them to sign on the dotted line. But for the most part, what I always find, anytime somebody lays out money, so you're putting the tip out for a waiter, or you're paying somebody for fantasy football, or you're getting paid your fantasy baseball winnings, and someone starts handing out money, my brain immediately goes to...
Know what that is?
Presidential flashcards?
Yeah, presidential flashcards, you get it? I mean, I love that movie. I love so much about it. I want to go home and watch That Thing You Do right now. Number 6 is from Aaron Sorkin. Now, Aaron Sorkin, between The West Wing and Studio 60 and The Newsroom and Sports Night and The American President and, of course, A Few Good Men, I could probably talk an entire day in all Aaron Sorkin quotes. I could probably get everything to come out of my head in a way that Aaron Sorkin has. It won't be nearly as good as the actors that he has do it, but one of my favorite movies forever was A Few Good Men. I mean, I remember taping this on the VCR and then watching it over and over again. What? Oh. Hey kids, Uncle Keith here. We used to videotape movies. We had a thing called a VCR, a video cassette recorder, and they would come with blank cassettes. And we would put a cassette in our VCR and we would order something on pay-per-view, or we'd catch it on HBO. And what we would do is be able to record it on these tapes. They'd come with little labels and we can go ahead and we can write the names of it. And we had shelves and shelves or drawers filled with these movies that we recorded off of TV. That was how we streamed things back in the day. So as I was saying, we would tape the movies. We would then watch it back over and over and over again. Later in life, I got to be in the play A Few Good Men, and I got to play Lieutenant Sam Weinberg. I directed it a couple times, and I thought that was fantastic and a lot of fun. But one of my favorite lines is there's a part where Demi Moore's character in the movie objects, and the judge overrules it, and she then, being inexperienced in trial, in courtroom trial procedures, goes ahead and says that she strenuously objects. Here, Kevin Pollack does it way better than I do. Watch.
I strenuously object. Is that how it works? Objection. Overruled. No. No, I strenuously object. Oh, wow. You strenuously object, and I should take some time to reconsider.
Now, I don't necessarily find myself using that phraseology every time, but that sentiment is always there, especially with my kids. You know, Dad, can I go out and play? No, hun, we're going to bed in 10 minutes and it's dark out. You can't go out and play. But I really want to go out and play. Oh, you really want to go out and play? Oh, well then, okay, let me reconsider. And I talk that way, and my kids don't have any idea what I'm doing. My wife doesn't have any idea what I'm doing. But to me, it's a nice little ode to A Few Good Men, one of my favorite plays that I've ever done. One of my favorite movies that I've ever done brings me to number 5, and number 5 comes from The Three Amigos. We did a video a while back where I talked about my favorite 80s movies, one from each year, and I've already talked about how much I love The Three Amigos, so here, watch a little clip from that video. Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, Martin Short. There's a great scene in that movie, and there's a million great scenes in that movie, and there's lines beyond lines that you can quote from it. But there's one scene where the three of them are off on their own, and they're sleeping under the stars, and they start singing this great song called Blue Shadows. And at the end of the song, Ned, who they're singing to help him, find a way to sleep at night in the strangeness under the stars, they all say goodnight, and they say goodnight to Dusty, they say goodnight to Lucky, and then all of a sudden, there's a goodnight, Ned, and this little turtle answers, and it's something that just stuck in my head. Here, watch this part. Watch some of the song and then the goodnight, Ned.
Night, Lucky. Night, Dusty.
Good night, Ned.
Good night, Ned.
Good night, Ned.
We still do this daily. Whenever John and I are talking on the computer, messaging back and forth or texting or whatever, when it's time for us to end our day, when it's time for us to go and be with our family and eat dinner or whatever it is we have to do, we sign off with Good night, Ned. It's just one of those things that has always kind of stuck and become part of the lexicon that we have. On to number 4, and that is Star Wars. Now, I know many of you have been watching this wondering when was I going to say something from Star Wars, and no, I wasn't saving it for number 1. It's not number 1. But, and it's not any of the famous lines that you would think it would be. It's not, I love you, I know. It's not,
I am your father.
no, there's a lot more to it. And the reason that I say that this is on my list right now is I seem to be writing it a lot, especially in text messages or emails back and forth to friends when we're talking about the current climate, especially in politics. And what's more political than Star Wars, really? But you see things and people wanting to believe everything that they believe on their own. And it always brings me back to what Obi-Wan Kenobi says to Luke. And here's the little clip. Watch this.
Luke, you're going to find that many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view.
There's always so much wisdom in anything that Obi-Wan Kenobi says. I mean, one of the other things I always say when there's a nice full moon out is,
That's no moon. It's a space station.
but the thing is that this part about knowing what it is in our heart, the way that we think about something, we're going to be able to create our own truths around it. It happens to us all the time. It happened to us. Election night was just the other day. And it's got people thinking in different ways that you figure, how can this person possibly be thinking this way, one way or the other? And really what it comes to is the things that we hold closest to us are the things that are going to create our own point of view. And Star Wars hit that right on the head. One of my favorite movies of all time brings us number 3, and that's the football movie Rudy. Rudy is one of those underdog movies that is so special. I can't not watch it if it comes on TV, and I can't not cry at the end. There's a million great lines from it, of course. All these movies have really great lines from it. But there's a scene when it all starts back. It starts back that Coach Parseghian is leaving the team, and now Dan Devine from the Packers, go Pack, go. It's taking over the team, and the gets to Rudy's senior game, the last game of the year of his senior year, and he's not on the dress list. And the captain comes in and he says to the coach, puts his jersey down on the desk and says, I want Rudy to dress in my place. And then the guy comes behind him, I want Rudy to dress in my place. So this is for Rudy, coach. It's Rudy. For Rudy, it's Rudy, for Rudy, 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 Rudy. And through all these people, we finally find out that, yes, the guy has a little bit of a heart and he's going to let Rudy dress for the last game of the season. Now, the one thing you have to wonder about is who's the one guy who put his jersey on that table and has to not play in his final game. That kind of stinks. But somebody did. Rudy gets to play. They're not going to let him put him in, even though that it's a blowout. The coach is like, no, you can't put him in. You can't put him in. And finally, the crowd's going crazy. They're chanting, Rudy, Rudy, Rudy. And Rudy gets in there, and he gets in the game, and the music swells, and he runs onto the field. And there's this one little piece by Jon Favreau, who played D-Bob in the movie. He's there. He's back from having his own life and coming back. He's a successful person now, a businessman, and he's sitting in the stands, and Rudy runs out, and he has this look of elation on him, and all he can say is, I say this all the time. Anytime, especially with my kids, when you sit there and you look about it and you think about sometimes when they'll just grab your finger with her whole hand, or the way they'll just fit in your arms, or the way you can pick them up and swing them around. All I'm constantly thinking about is he's so little. And it always makes me bring back to Rudy, and my kids make me cry more than Rudy does. I seem to be a crier, but hey, that's okay. Number 2 is from a comedy classic, one of my favorite funny movies, Tommy Boy. Now, Tommy Boy, holy shnikes, does that have a lot of lines that you can use. But the one that I use a lot, because it just always will make me smile with my brother and also with John, some of my other close friends, is that when you see the person for a long time, you think about the scene when Rob Lowe's character is introduced as Tommy's new brother. And Tommy immediately jumps over furniture and he runs over to see him. And here, Chris Farley does it better than me. Watch.
Brother? I'm gonna have a brother? I've always dreamed about having a brother.
Speak of the devil.
Oh, brother! Brother?
I'm Paul. You must be Tommy.
Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers gotta hug.
I say that anytime my brother walks in the room. Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got to, and you give the guy a big hug. It's part of kind of what a modern man is all about. We're not the stoic man that was around 20 years ago. We're not afraid to get a little bit closer with people, especially those that you're related to. And so I harken back. I started this whole thing talking about Band of Brothers, and we're a brotherhood. We're a group of people that are making things happen, and we have to treat each other that way. So, when I see my close friends, I don't shake hands. We got to hug, and that's the way we make it work. One other thing, we started at being cold with Mr. Bigglesworth. I'm going to stop. Number one is going to come from another play turned into a movie by the amazing Neil Simon, and it's from Biloxi Blues. And Biloxi Blues has this amazing scene when Eugene ends up at, his training, and it's just hot. It's just wicked hot. And I find myself saying this all the time. And John, who lives in LA, says it back to me all the time. But those New England, 100% humidity, 110-degree days, there's not one that goes by that I'm not saying this.
It's like Africa hot. Tarzan couldn't take this kind of hot.
It's just a genius line. So those are the things that kind of seep into my head, things that come right off without me even thinking about it, without me really thinking about the movies that we do. And there's more. There's tons. I'm sure that I said more during this whole thing that I didn't even know were from a movie. And I'm sure my kids are going to pick it up and say things that are from movies and not even know that happened. But, of course, we always want to know what you guys think, too. So hit me in the comments below or on mindofmodernman.com, the story that goes along with this video. Tell us what kind of movie lines get stuck in your head. Are you looking at me kind of guy? Are you, I'm making an offer, confused? Are you, you can't handle the truth? Are there different things that you use in your life that come from a movie, and even though you're not necessarily consciously thinking about it, they just come out, and they're things that you say all the time? I want to know what your eyes are too. Maybe we'll come up with a whole nother list of these, because I'm sure that there's a ton more. But thank you for listening, and as my grandfather always was quoted as saying, you do nice work, not much, but what you do is quality. So long. All right, get me out of here. Never give up. Never surrender. Hey, thanks for watching this video. We really appreciate it. We really have to thank our patrons who make all this possible. With just a little bit every month, they go ahead and they help us with things like our web domain, email addresses, marketing, any technological things that we need. They really help us out. We'd love for you to join them. If you'd like to join this list over here, go to patreon.com/mindofmodernman and you can help us out too. Remember, you can follow us at mindofmodernman.com, and we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr, at Mind of Modern Man. You can find me on Twitter, at Modern Keith. We'd love a follow everywhere. Remember, you need to subscribe. Click the little button up here and you can subscribe, and you'll get notified every time that we have a new video. And you can watch our other videos by clicking the little thing down here on the corner. A big thank you to everyone behind the scenes at Modern Man for making Truck Tales possible. We love doing these videos. We hope that you love watching, and we hope you continue to do so. Thanks again, and so long.